Cup of Joe morning show. It's the Cup of Joe, Cup of Joe, Cup of Joe, Cup of Joe. Yeah. Good morning. Cup of Joe morning show. Yeah. Cup of Joe morning show. Good morning.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to get started. We're just a little bit past the top of the 10 o'clock hour. This is Cup of Joe, and this is the Cup of Joe morning show. And guys, listen, I have a power pack. Should I say we have a power packed show for you today. We're going to tackle a topic that to me needs to be tackled, stumped, punched down to the ground, and never to be dealt with again, and that is that of credit. And we're going to put on a show here that's going to demystify the entire credit conundrum that we all deal with. Some of us deal with it out of fear. Some of us deal with it out of faith, that we're just hoping that our scores go up so we can get what we want. Well, we're going to make it more pragmatic. I mean, we're going to make it less pragmatic. Okay, we're going to make it where it's going to be, again, no one speeds in the fog. So we want to take away the fog. We want to give you some correct, concise information. And in doing that, I believe this is going to probably be the most impactful show that we've done thus far this year, Malcolm. So I have my boy, always, Mr. Malcolm Brown, Malcolm in the Middle Jackson, aka Action Jackson. Come on, man, go ahead and talk to us, man. What's up, Malcolm? What's going on?
You're killing me with the Malcolm Brown, man. You're killing me. Hey, it's Malcolm, y'all. It's Malcolm in the Middle, as I've always been called through high school. I used to hate that one, so I can deal with Malcolm Brown a little better.
Man, Malcolm Brown is actually a dope name.
It's actually a dope name. Thank you, Cup of Joe, for coming again with the Power Pack Show. We want to educate the community here at Real Talk 100 Radio and change the mentalities of quite a few. I'm not going to say millions. I'm not going to say hundreds. I'm just going to say quite a few of individuals in our community, people in my immediate circle, everybody. We want to impact. We want to be an impact. And this show is a big impact on the community. It's going to educate you. So tune in every Wednesday morning. Here's information on the screen to the Cup of Joe morning show, everybody. He's going to teach you finances. He's going to teach you home buying. He's going to teach you credit. He's going to even talk about some relationships and mix a little sports in there. So that's all I got right now.
Man, that's what's up.
My introduction, even though he's very, very good at introducing himself.
Listen, I've learned to introduce myself. But listen, no, this is great. Thank you, Malcolm. I appreciate you as always, bro. But I do believe, again, that this is going to be probably the most impactful show that we've done thus far, for sure, and even up to date, because credit is something that is so important in every aspect of our lives, not just when we're looking to buy a house or buy a car or buy anything. It's when you're looking to get a job, when you're looking to get auto insurance, when you're looking to get anything that's pertaining and circulating around your social security number, which is identifier. Then you know that you want to have, your credit in order. And we're going to talk about that here today. So I brought on today, well, before I tell you who I brought on, I want to give you a quick instruction, because we got a lot of information to go over. I'm going to ask you, if you can, certainly get into a quiet place, take copious notes on what you're going to be hearing. And I believe it's going to be a blessing to you. And definitely tag a friend. I'll say that again, tag a friend that you believe will benefit from hearing this information. And let me just say this, because we always talk about credit in a negative sense. And I want to say it that, in a nutshell, that there's no shame in having less than perfect credit, guys. There is no shame. There's a credit report is a credit history report. There's no shame in our history. Right. But the thing is, the shame comes that if we know we don't have stellar credit, or we have less than perfect credit, when we choose to do nothing about it, that's where the shame comes. Right. So we want to just, again, demystify it. And we're going to get started right off the bat right here with our good friend. I just met this young lady here at an event way out in Bay City, Texas. We drove out and did a real estate empowerment symposium. And listen, this woman had some conversations there that touched me to the point I said, listen, I want you on my radio broadcast, because what you have, people need to hear. So I'm speaking of none other than our now newly good friend, Ms. Tamaris Massengale of TM Consult. What's going on?
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Can you guys hear me? Testing 1 2 1 2. All right. So I am so excited to be here. It's definitely a blessing how we even ran across each other's path. Right. It was literally a last minute event. And I was just so impressed with the wealth of knowledge that you shared with the people that were there. Mm-hmm. So many different programs that can help a lot of our people that are in distress as it relates to their homes. Mm-hmm. It was just an amazing opportunity. So a little bit about me. My name is Tamaris Massengale, and I am a Cali girl. I am from Los Angeles, California, and recently relocated to this beautiful state. And Texas is very welcoming. It's been doing me well, and I'm very, very happy to be here. So we are going to talk about this myth as it relates to credit and having bad credit. And we're going to talk about some very, very simple steps that people can implement in order to help change not only their immediate situation, but create a clearer path to financial freedom and sustainability, not only for themselves, but for their family and for their family's family. And I love what Malcolm mentioned earlier about changing a mindset. And that's what we really need to focus on, is breaking the generational curse as it relates to finances.
Absolutely.
And I keep referencing finances because credit is a very strong determining factor as to what your ceiling is when it comes to finances. Right. So,
well, let's do this, and that's a great introduction for what we're going to be talking about. So let's just get right into it. I've got some questions for you. We put together some questions that we know are going to be impactful. They need to be answered, and we need to hear it from a professional expert who has not only the expertise, but the mentality to just demystify this darn thing. So in a nutshell, this might be somewhat of an ambiguous question. Right. What is the credit reporting system in America really? What is it really when we're talking about credit and the credit reporting agencies, as they were? We call them bureaus. We know they're not bureaus, but we're going to talk about that. What, in a nutshell, is the credit reporting system in America? So
a credit profile, we're misled to believe that it's just a 3-digit number. It's an actual profile. And I want to put that out there as the foundation that we're going to build off of our conversation, because there are so many there are hundreds of credit reporting institutions. It's
entities,
institutions, whatever you want to call it. They're not bureaus. That's why we're changing our vocabulary as we relate to these individuals, because they're corporations that have managed to create a system that they can benefit off of, that can segregate. Is that a good word that I could use?
They don't like to
Individual.
use that word, but I think that's the bottom line.
That's what it really comes down to. It does.
Yeah, and segregates. Yeah,
It does. It does. And keeps one particular demographic in a area of captivity, and it allows others that learn how to utilize both good and bad credit and play the game that the Americas have created.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna surmise, at least piggyback for a second.
Yes.
I think in any industry, any industrialized industry that has people in it, we have to be conscious and cognizant of the fact that racism plays a role, because the systems may not be racist, but if they're created to the disadvantage of those people that the racist mentality is against, then it becomes systemic racism. And it's found in every area, in every aspect, in every industry of our beloved country. Let's just be 100 about that.
Yeah.
So credit is no different. So the way we navigate is through proper information,
Correct.
education, and then taking action on that information.
Correct.
So here's the next question. What should a person know about their credit and how to best use it to their own personal advantage?
I think you answered the question in the question, is to know their credit.
Oh, yeah.
A very simple task that most people do not entertain because of the misinformation that they've gotten from their peers and family members and people that they trust. They don't even do the simplest thing, which is to pull their credit report.
To even know what's on their report.
You don't even know what's on there. And a lot of individuals, especially with this fintech society that we're in, financial technology, so many people are just being leveraged because they don't know, and they don't have any interest because they've already have this mindset that it's the same thing with voting. You know,
Right.
I don't cast my vote because it's not gonna matter.
Right.
Well, how would you know if you don't cast your vote?
Right.
Same thing with your credit. If you don't pull your credit profile, how do you know that you have bad credit?
Right.
Just because someone told you, or you just stopped making payments on something, or you missed a payment, you're just assuming that you have bad credit. In reality, it probably is just you have nothing on there.
Right.
That's
Right.
That's equally as bad as having bad credit. Not having anything on your credit is just as bad as not having. And a lot,
Listen,
you can't see
You
can't
can't
see
see
Malcolm,
Malcolm.
but he's pointing at himself. But if I can be bold to state that a lot of us don't do anything because of the lie we were taught when we were young, that you don't touch credit. You pay everything with cash. You don't use credit cards. You don't. But that's the worst thing that you could tell your family
We're in
and
a credit
friends.
society. You
Yes,
have to have
you
credit.
have to. You have to
Can I
leverage.
rephrase what I just said? I said you have to have credit. No, you're going to have credit.
Yes.
Either going to be no credit, good credit, or bad credit, but you're going to have credit.
You're gonna have
That's
credit.
what it is.
And basically, credit is your trustworthiness.
Mhm.
So the two biggest factor of your credit is your history, meaning how long you've had a credit line,
Mhm.
and how you pay it back.
Absolutely.
That's the two major factors. There's several others that go into your credit score, but those are the two. Those carry the biggest weight.
Mhm.
Is your history and how you pay it back.
Absolutely.
So that's even with your utility bills. There's a credit score for that. That's with your car note. That's with your housing. Each of those that I just mentioned, they all have their internal credit systems. That's like when I stated earlier,
Mhm.
there's several different reporting entities that we don't even know exist, but you only find out about it when you go try to use it.
Absolutely.
So when you try to go get an apartment, or if you try to go get a car, or you try to get an increase on a credit line, you learn that there's different, it's not just the three, the
Right.
main three.
Mhm.
There are other internal scores as well. For example, like with Navy Federal Credit Union,
Mhm.
they have their own internal credit
Mhm.
system.
Mhm.
So, which is unique because if you understand how to play the game And if you have good standing with them, your personal credit with the 3 reporting agencies might not be as strong.
Right.
But if you have a great history with Navy, they may bypass
Absolutely.
those scores that are
Mhm.
external and just use their internal system. So I don't want to jump ahead, but
No, you're speaking wisdom on this, and you spoke something that I think the listening audience needs to know. So there's different internal rating systems
yes.
for automobile lending,
Yep.
mortgage lending, credit card lending.
Yep.
Right. And a lot of people don't know that. They'll say, well, I got to, I hear this all the time with the mortgage person. Well, I have a 650 on this my credit card. Because,
Yeah.
sometimes credit cards will give you on the
Yeah.
back of your statement
Right.
what your credit score is. But we know that that's a simulation,
Right.
So it's not always accurate. And I hear a lot of people also lean towards, which I think is good. It's better to lean towards Credit Karma than have no gauge as far as what your scores are.
Yeah.
But we understand Credit Karma is an independent entity that actually has their own internal scoring systems. It's all algorithms, guys. And,
Yes.
and it's different than what we pull when we actually pull the 3 bureaus.
Right.
It's going to be a different score. But go ahead and speak on that.
And I'm glad that you made mention of that, because I have a lot of people that swear by the Credit Karmas and Identity IQ. And
Right.
these are all, this is to put it in the most simplest description, because I'm audio and visual as well
Mhm.
when I learn. And that's what we have to understand when we're teaching heavy topics such as this. We have to understand to be able to break it down in different learning patterns, because everyone doesn't learn the same. Doesn't mean that someone is ignorant. It's just they learn different, right?
Mhm.
So to break it down, that's like if you pick the apple from the actual tree in your home,
Mhm.
you packaged it and you sent it to Walmart. Now Walmart is sending it, but the original was you at your home. Now Walmart is selling it.
Mhm.
I decided I'm gonna get an apple from Walmart and I'm gonna scoop the seeds out and I'm gonna replant it,
Mhm.
right? So I may not get the exact same flavor and results because I don't know what you did to grow your tree. I don't know the type of fertilization you did. I don't know what type of
and
soil.
atmosphere, yeah.
Right. So it's, although I may be able to duplicate it, but it's not going to be as original.
Mhm.
So that's the same thing when you're using these third-party entities like Credit Karma.
Mhm.
Credit Karma is derived from, like you said, an algorithm and secondhand information.
Mhm.
The bureaus, not bureaus, the entities you should be registering with to get accurate scores for your credit profile is the 3: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. That's where you should invest your money to get accurate reading.
Absolutely. Now that leads us to the third question. I don't know if you're reading my screen, young lady,
No.
or if you're just prophetic. But the next question was, who and what are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and how do they operate?
They are a business. They are individual corporations.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
why I say that? Because as with any business, their bottom line is their overhead.
Mm.
So that means let me not get ahead of myself, but their bottom line is making a profit.
Right.
They make a profit by individuals not being conscious of their rights. And I state that because these credit reporting, or these creditors, when they're reporting, they're paying them to report whatever they say is factual.
Mhm.
So that means that if I missed a payment one time paying my creditor, but they say I missed 3 times, that's what they're telling Equifax.
Right.
Equifax is not going to go and take the extra steps to confirm if indeed you did pay late 1 time or 3 times. They don't care.
Right.
Because I'm paying Equifax to report what I say is true.
Right.
So that's where my company comes in and is able to dispute and fight on behalf of my clients, because they have a responsibility to report truth and actual information.
Right. And to your point, your company operates, and any company that operates in the capacity of helping one know and improve their credit is operating under the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Correct.
And the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act that I speak on all the time, because if you don't know your rights according to those 2 acts of Congress, you can be easily taken advantage of because,
right.
to your point, we automatically see these agencies as we do when we fear them in the manner that
That's
we
right.
do the IRS. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? It's a government entity, and
Right.
these are not government
They are
entities.
not.
These are agencies, even LLC agencies.
Yes.
They're LLC, they're limited liability corporations operating for profit.
Yes.
And as TM is saying, she's letting us know, and this is part of the demystification of this whole thing.
That's right.
We don't have to be fearful of them. We have rights,
That's
ladies
right.
and gentlemen.
That's
So
right.
it's important that we know our rights. Know your rights as it pertains to how your information is being reported. And let me just quote a little bit from the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and I'll dive into a little bit its cousin, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. There's rules of engagement when it comes to that
Yes.
that most of us don't know about.
That's right.
Some of which are they can't call you before a certain time
That's right.
and after a certain time.
That's right.
And if you tell them, I am fully aware of, my situation, and I deem how you're coming after me as harassment, who determines it being harassment or harassment? We do,
Yes.
not them, because
That's
they're
right.
going to come hard at us.
That's right.
So if we know our rights, there's no reason why we should be running from the phone when a creditor calls, right? We shouldn't be intimidated. Even when we go, a lot of people go to purchase things in there. Listen, I'm a Christian. I love the Lord, and I will pray without ceasing.
Yes.
But I shouldn't have to rely on prayer, fasting, you know what I'm saying, and supplication
Yeah.
to know whether or not I can qualify for something.
That's right.
I should know I qualify because I know my credit score. I know my rights to help me to improve
right.
that score.
That's right.
And this is not just speaking to people that have less than perfect credit. You'll hear that I don't say bad when it comes to credit. I don't say bad credit because it's not necessarily bad credit. It's just less than perfect. And there's things we can do to change that. So listen, how much time we got before we got 5 more minutes. So it's important again to know that TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian are not government entities, and they're no one to fear, but you need to know what your rights are. I have a question right off the top of the dome.
Okay.
What is one of the biggest misnomers, we can call it lies, about credit itself and pertaining to those 3 agencies? What's some of the biggest untruths that you've heard over your time working on this in this area?
That they have authority over you.
Ooh, say that twice.
That they have, let me get a little closer. That they have authority over you. They do not.
That's a lie. They do not have
They
authority.
do not.
Explain that.
The
very quickly.
banking institution, according to congressional law, states that they rely heavily on your participation.
Mhm.
So they are not able to tap into the reserves of the United States of America unless they have willing participants, which is us, the consumers.
You gotta say that twice because I'm not even getting. I'm getting it, but I'm thinking like, man, what is this woman actually saying?
So, in a nutshell,
Speak it truth. It's okay.
Okay, so when you're born, anybody that has a child, just rock with me on this. Anybody that has a child, think about it. When you had your baby, before you could even make sure that you was cleaned up from having your baby or you was able to kiss them on the head, one of the first things they make you do is make sure you fill out a paper to go get a Social Security card. Am I lying?
That's true. That's true.
Why would they care about your little baby getting a Social Security card?
Wow.
Because your Social Security card is a credit card that taps into your money that the United States of America has. So if you don't have a Social Security number, why do you think they fight so hard about illegal immigrants coming here?
Right.
Because we can't get no Social Security card on there. We can't make no money off of them.
So you're saying that the credit industry is an industry that leverages our personal
Correct.
for their gain.
Why do you think they had to go and create these acts? The Consumer Act, the Fair Credit Act. Why? Because these banking institutions were just going ham.
Absolutely.
They were doing what they wanted to do.
Absolutely.
These Wells Fargo, weren't they just in trouble a couple? They've been in trouble a couple of years, back to back for doing illegal things with what? Your credit.
With our credit. You're right about it.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are in control of our consumer reporting profile. And if I say my name is Jane Doe, I don't care what you think it says. I said my name is Jane Doe. So you are to report it as Jane Doe.
See, people don't even believe that. You know that? I believe you because I know it's true.
Yeah.
But people don't believe that because it's like we're tapped into the matrix with this.
Yes.
And we need to be unplugged.
Yes.
Right. And truth unplugs us from the matrix.
Yes.
So part of this demystification of the credit industry, as it were, and it is an industry, is to debunk some of the what we thought were truths and show them for what they really are.
Right.
These are for-profit entities
Yes.
who are taking advantage of our lack of knowledge of how the system works.
Right. For example, back to what you were saying in reference to creditors calling you. The first thing they say when they verify your name is, we are on a recorded line, correct?
Correct.
Why do you think they say that?
To cover their own butts.
Not only that, but why? What is that? What that conversation can be typed up as an exhibit, right? As proof, right? So then, if that is a legal form of documentation, then why aren't you responding to them stating, this is my, especially if they're calling you on your cell phone. You guys remember a couple of years ago when they got in trouble for calling your cell phone and they no longer can call your cell phone?
Right.
Don't they verify if this is your home phone or your cell phone? Creditors do. Am I lying? Tell me if I'm lying.
No, you're not lying.
They verify, right? It's for a reason, because it's illegal for them to contact, because now you're causing me financial hardship. You're using up my minutes. You don't know if this is a prepaid phone or not. So when they call, simple thing you can say, this is my personal cell phone number. I am acknowledging that I am advising you to cease and desist. You are to no longer call this number.
No, I know that's a fact right there.
Yeah. And you're saying it, you make sure that you verify this is a recorded line. Yes, it's a recorded line. So now it's going into, they want you to write it in, but why do I have to write it in? You just gave me your internal laws, right? Yeah. So I'm putting it on your dime. Don't call this number. This is a cell phone number, right? And that after that point, every time they call you, then you make sure you document it, because now you can go after them for violating your law, the law.
We're gonna talk about that. See what Tamaris is talking about is found in the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. It's what the U.S. government has determined to be what's fair and equitable when it comes to creditors or debtors, as it were, or debt collection companies, what they can and cannot do to collect that debt.
Correct.
And they're doing things that violate the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act every single day,
that's right,
all day, and twice on Sunday.
That's right.
Because they're not supposed to be calling you before 9 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
After 9 o'clock in the evening.
That's right.
Or when you designate, if you tell them, I acknowledge my debt and I don't need any further phone calls, and any further phone calls or interruptions to my peace, I deem as harassment, they have to, by law, stop calling you.
Yep.
And if they don't, they violated the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act.
Well, I had to interject there. What debt?
Ooh.
What debt? I'm not acknowledging anything.
Exactly. I love it.
The proof is in the pudding. You got to prove that I owe that.
Hold on. Stop it. Stop the presses. We gotta go to an intermission in just a second, but what you just said changes the whole game. It unlocks it. Yeah. The onus or the burden is not on us to prove that we don't have the debt. It's on them to prove that we do. And these laws, as it were, makes it that they have to operate in a certain lane in a certain manner in order to prove it. And if they can't prove it, what did Johnny Cochran say back in the day that made it so popular? He says, if it don't fit,
it must have quit.
You must have quit. In my Johnny Cochran voice. When it comes to your creditors calling you and your credit report reflecting that you have all these late pays and haven't paid this one, so now it's in collections. They're calling you. They haven't been able to collect, so now they've written it off, and their profit and loss is now a charge off. All of that stuff has to be proven by them. We don't have to prove that we didn't do it. They got to prove that we did.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Let's go to intermission on that, my brother, because I know we got some more meat to get into. And ladies and gentlemen, please tag a friend, get people on this call or on this broadcast, and you can hear what we're going over and what we're going to be going over the closeout in the last 30 minutes. It's going to be meat for your bones, guys. I'm Cup of Joe, and we're going to be right back with you.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Morning Show, everybody. Y'all are hearing it straight from the horse's mouth, y'all. Great information on credit, great information on credit bureaus, great information that you need to purchase your home, whether you're a first-time buyer or whether you're a seasoned vet in home buying process. Tamaris is here as a credit specialist and a home buying specialist, and Joe is here as I know I just goofed that up. This is her information right here. She's a small business and credit specialist. Her name is Tamaris Massengill. We'll get her information here shortly. This is the Cup of Joe Morning Show. We'll be right back, everybody. Thank y'all for joining.
Cup of Joe Morning Show. 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 Cup of Joe Morning Show.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the second hour, or the second half hour of the Cup of Joe Morning Show. And I keep making these little Freudian slips, guys, because I realize that Malcolm Jackson has sincerely talked with me from a perspective that I think is that's 100%. He's basically saying, Joe, with the information and the elaboration of the information that you typically do on your show, you need to go to a 2-hour format. And if there's any show that I believe we should be at 2 hours to get the information, it would be this show here. As I have again my special guest, Ms. Tamaris Massengill from TM Consult, and she's not only a professional when it comes to credit, she also is very well versed when it comes to business startups. And I'll let you tell some of the others. What's the other side of TM Consult that goes beyond just one's credit?
Awesome. So I am a big advocate for small businesses being set up correctly from the beginning.
There you go.
Because that knocks us out the park when it comes up to funding as well.
Mm-hmm.
Funding opportunities, grant opportunities, contracting opportunities, because we don't have the foundation correct. You know, our corporation isn't set up correctly, or we don't have our taxes in place, or we don't have our business registered correctly. We have our home address. You know, it's just small little things that we don't take into consideration. We don't have operational systems in place, which causes us to not have the best customer service. just so many little nuances that we don't think about because no one talks about that, right? Especially in the African American community. And we definitely don't put value on it. So when a person like me says, hey, you're going to need to invest, cool $4,000 or $5,000 with my company, but it's going to set you up for opportunity to go after a government grant that's, 1.5, or more, that's another thing about Texas. You guys have so many opportunities as it relates to government contracting. They are looking for small businesses to work with,
minority businesses,
minority, women, veteran, disabled, disadvantaged small businesses. They are looking for you guys, but they can't find you. One, you're not registered correctly. You're not on Google. We can't Google you. You don't have a social media presence. If you do, it's generic.
And it's made from backyard scraps.
Right. So there's no way. You don't have a LinkedIn profile. Like, we are slipping on so many different platforms where you can leverage your ability and your presence. But again, we don't take value, or we don't understand. Let me not say we don't. We don't understand the value of investing in a consulting company like myself that I'm rooting for you. So I shared this with you before. I operate in integrity not because I'm scared of anyone in the flesh, but because I know who's watching me, and I have a responsibility. What I've learned through trials and tribulations, get,
taking your bumps and bruises.
Exactly. So I have a responsibility to say, hey, those that have an ear, listen. I'm going to tell you how to do it, but you got to implement it.
Right.
So yeah, that's just a few of the many tricks of the trade.
Absolutely. What you were saying is that you're God fearing. You're not fearing man. So you're doing the right thing for clients. Has nothing in this case to do with the repercussions of not doing the right thing with the client. It's how God sees it. And I love that. That's again part of what we know to be our consortium. We're coming together as independent, business-minded individuals and recognizing their strength in numbers.
Absolutely.
Remember that movie, Malcolm, with the planet? It was Planet of the Apes, the more recent one, when they were doing an illustration of Caesar, the main ape, took one twig, one stick, and he broke it. And he says, one ape easily broken, but he grabbed a bunch of sticks, put it together. But together, not easily broken.
Exactly.
If a monkey can figure that out, I don't see why we can't.
Absolutely.
Come on, man. Give me a.
I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you more than that.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I do appreciate the applause. You guys are so special. But let's continue with this interview here. Let's get on the backside of this thing, guys, because I believe there's some information that I believe is going to. I said it twice. That is going to be impactful to you. Now, we've already answered a few questions. Let's go over a couple of them. We talked about it initially. Let's go over it real quick. In a nutshell, what is the credit reporting system in America? We've determined that it's business, y'all. They're out for profit.
Right.
Okay? What should a person know about their credit? And it was told by Miss TM saying, listen, just knowing is half the battle. Didn't G.I. Joe say that as well? Yeah. Knowing is half the battle. Now taking action on that is the second half of the battle.
Exactly.
We described who these entities are known as Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, that they are not credit bureaus, as it were. I pull a credit bureau, but it's the information on those bureaus are generated by these entities that basically have one-sided information. Right. Isn't that true? It's just one side. It's their side.
It is.
Okay. I had a question here. It says, what are the most impactful aspects of one's credit? But you've already answered that. Yeah. You said it's the history, how long you've had it, and how well you paid on it.
Exactly.
So let's get to the next question here. Actually, I want to get to what steps can I take, or can I take steps on my own to repair my own credit? Let's talk about that, because we get that all of the time. I'm repairing my own credit. I'm like, yeah, I went to the dentist the other day. I didn't take it upon myself to repair my own teeth because I figured it would be awfully painful. But that's what I tell people.
Yeah.
And I make it like, Malcolm's over here cracking up, but I make it, somewhat of humorous. But the reality of it is, it's even more detrimental to work on your own credit than it is to work on your own teeth.
On that note,
please.
On that note, I thought about it. Lisa downloaded a bunch of information, and we were going to do it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I thought about it, I'm like, that's like being a shade tree mechanic. I mean, I don't,
Not a shake.
The shade tree.
I'm not a master mechanic.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I have friends who are shade tree mechanics, and I do utilize their services sometimes
Yeah.
when I want to save $1,000.
Yeah, right,
If I
right,
take it to the dealership, it's going to be $1,000 plus.
right,
Right.
I will take it to the shade tree
Right.
mechanic, but I don't want to get out there myself.
right,
Mhm.
right,
I
right.
don't know anything about being a
Exactly.
mechanic.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's what I liken it to. I'm like, okay, no, let me pay somebody to do this.
Yeah.
It's
You know?
well worth it to have someone who knows how to do it and to do it as opposed to us doing it ourselves. Are there things we can possibly do? Of course, keep our utilization down,
Yeah.
pay our debts, pay everybody. First thing we want to do is learn to pay everybody on time.
Correct.
Once we do that, then we're in the way or on the way and
Yeah.
on the track towards improving our credit scores. Because again, the credit score is nothing more than a compilation of these individual accounts, and they put a risk score to it, as it were.
Yes.
That higher that score,
Yep.
the lower the risk you represent.
Yep.
And the risk is, are you going to pay it back as agreed?
That's right.
Everything is risk against that.
That's right.
So your history shows whether or not you have paid things back as agreed
That's
or
right.
not.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So what would you say about someone saying, can I repair my own credit?
If this was maybe 10, 15 years ago, I would say take a stab at it. Right.
Mhm.
But we have all these self-proclaimed gurus that utilize different sources and tools to get your credit fixed, only for you to find out that they cut a corner and now it's being reported again.
Re-report it.
Or now an open profile that was positive has been closed because they used a letter that's saying identity theft, right?
Yep.
So, and this is not to speak against anyone that's out there doing a thing, but me personally, and my family teased me, I like luxury things.
Mhm.
Right? Not for the fact of being able to brag that I can afford it. I like it because I understand the investment.
Mhm.
I understand if I buy a Louis Vuitton and I have a dent or a scratch or they have a service where you take it back.
Mhm.
And if they can't fix it, they
They
replace it.
replace it. Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
I can't do that with that Ross purse. It get a hole or dent in it, I might as well throw it in the trash.
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
It hold the value. So that's the difference in bootlegging it and buying a DIY, ebook. Yeah, you can do it yourself, but are you going to get the results you're looking for? I have individuals that have tried to do it on their own, and they say that Equifax is verifying that it's a true debt. How did Equifax go knock on the door and ask who you were? How are they verifying something? Equifax, tell me what is your steps and your procedures to verify a debt.
We asked the person that you said that you didn't owe if you owed them, and then they verified it.
They verified
They
that you
verified
did
it.
owe it.
Right.
So that's how we verify it.
Exactly.
Okay, that's illegal.
That's all they're doing though.
That's illegal, right? People that have, for example, men that suffer with child support.
Mm.
That's illegal. You can't report that. That's a civil matter. That's like me and you arguing, and I say I'm gonna go report you to the courts, and now the courts has the authority to put. That's our personal business.
Right.
Why is it on my credit report? I have nothing to do with that.
So are you trying to tell my listening audience that we can control what is being reported?
You should be controlling it. How many of you pulled your credit report and you see a name on there that you have never used?
Right. An alias.
Who put that on there?
Someone did.
I don't use that name. Why
Right.
is it on my profile?
Right.
It's the address on there that's in. I don't care if it's one digit that's wrong. Who put that on there? This is my life, my profile, and you're lying on me. You're saying that my name is Tamaris K. Massengale. No, it is not. You're lying on me. So that mistake, that clerical error can actually cost me, and I have a client right now that they changed the letter in his name on his credit profile, and it almost cost him a promotion
Mm.
because whoever that person is with that name actually has a case, and they're trying to attach my client and this person with a name that he didn't give them. Where did this name come from?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you have the authority to say what should and should not be on your profile. You have the authority to tell them, yes, this is correct, no, this isn't. And if you don't, again, that's why all those acts were put into place
Right.
to protect the consumer, because they recognize how these banking institutions were having a ball with our personal information, and we
Mhm.
weren't doing anything about it.
Right. And ignorance is not bliss.
Oh.
So there's certain things that we hear in life that we say, well, ignorance is bliss. No, it's not. Marriage is blissful. Ignorance is very harmful to everything
right.
that it touches.
Yes.
Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's a difference between being, I don't want to, let's say stupidity and ignorance are two different things.
Yeah.
They're both leading to the same path. That it's just
Yeah.
you're not knowing.
Mhm.
But when you're ignorant, that means you haven't been exposed to the
Right.
information.
Right.
If your stupidity means somebody done sat back and did a radio broadcast, talked about this, laid it all out, gave you some action steps, and you still didn't do anything.
Mhm.
Well, to me, that's leading to, I don't want to say stupidity, but it does lead to stupidity, right? So
Yeah.
let's get off the beaten path for a moment. And what should be the first step that a person takes? Well, let me say the second step. The first step is knowing what's on your credit report. So getting a free credit report is available to everyone. Just so
Yeah.
you know, we don't have to have anyone pull our credit. I pull credit for people every day, all day,
Yeah.
but only with the ends of
Right.
saying they qualify for a mortgage.
Right.
But
right.
you can get a free credit report, a free annual report every year.
Correct.
That's according to the law again. But what would you say is the next few steps that will give action steps to those who are listening now on how they can initiate? And I'm not saying repairing their credit.
Mhm.
I'm saying initiate knowing what's on their report, and then what's the steps to take to better their situation.
Well, I'm going to definitely recommend that you invest, and I'm stressing the investment. Our culture needs to understand putting our money in the right places.
Mm-hmm.
We need to invest in educating ourselves about becoming financially free.
Mm-hmm.
No one is going to give you the blueprint to life for free.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you pay someone to show you, they're not giving you every step. They're just giving you a starting point. And I stress that because you should sit down with a consultant,
Mm-hmm.
like TM Consultant,
Mm-hmm.
and have the person go through the profile and do an analytical report of your profile and explain to you what is hurting you, what you'll need to do to build your profile, what you need to take off, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then go into the credit restoration process. But you first need to sit down. If you're not understanding what you're looking at when you pull your report, then sit down with someone that this is what they do in day by day by day by day.
Right.
I don't just use off the top of the dome. I have several different resources. I use the congressional law.
Mm-hmm.
I use the fair credit law. I use all of these resources that are there. I've just invested in myself to learn how to read and understand it
Mm-hmm.
and be able to implement it in a fashion where these creditors and these credit reporting agencies have to succumb to our request,
Right.
which is take this off. And in most cases, now you got to pay me because of your errors. I've lost on this and this and this and this, which is a true statement.
Right.
If you're reporting inaccurate information on my credit profile, and I come to see Cup of Joe, I'm trying to get a home. Your inaccuracies is causing me to be disqualified.
Absolutely. It's
And-
like defamation of character.
It is. That's why they got to pay you. Because of your incompetencies, I am suffering. And your benefit off of it because you and the credit reporting entities and the creditors, you guys are in cahoots,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So even and what's messed up, you mentioned earlier on we were speaking is, so let's say American Express, right?
Mm-hmm.
They wrote it off. It says charge off,
Mm-hmm.
right? If they wrote it off, their insurance has already compensated them for that debt.
Absolutely.
So they've been paid for that debt. But these greedy blankety blanks
Mm-hmm.
say we're going to take it a step further. We're going to continue to report on your credit profile that you owe us,
Mhm.
which is inaccurate. If it's a charge off, it should be zero balance. You charged it off.
It's been paid, but it's been a charge off, meaning that it's been paid in your profit and loss as a loss.
As a loss.
So
So how are you still saying I owe you $2,000 when you already got paid $2,000? I don't owe you. You've already been paid.
Listen, let's take it a little deeper down that rabbit hole, because and this is great information. What you're saying is they're getting paid twice when they come and collect from you if they've already written it off as a charge off.
Sometimes 3 times.
Oof,
Sometimes 3 times because they're selling it. They're
that's what I
selling
was
your
gonna
debt.
get to.
Yeah, they're
Yes,
selling their debt
thank you.
to a credit agency who's buying it for pennies on the dollar.
Thank you.
And so they got paid 3 times.
Absolutely.
If they can trick you into believing, and I say trick you because they'll send you notices, they'll send you a letter, they'll send you an email saying, hey, if you pay this amount, we'll satisfy your debt, but then you still report it as the full balance.
Right. Listen, I was going to say that. That's why I turned the camera over this way, because they're getting paid. They're getting paid by, in this case, if it's charged off, they've already had it written off, which means they've taken it out as an insurance claim, basically.
That's right.
That debt is clear. Then they still try and collect from it, and they'll sell it to someone
That's
who
right.
tries to collect.
That's right.
And the main thing they use, guys, is what's known as intimidation.
That's right.
Intimidation is basically, again, I liken it to the IRS, and I'm not speaking against the IRS as much as I'm saying the IRS, Uncle Sam, as it were, has a fear hold on our community. Most people don't want to mess with the IRS. And I get it. You don't want to owe taxes. I've heard people say, would you ever want to owe $300,000 in taxes?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, if I owe $300,000, I didn't make $300,000. I must have made $1 million.
Right.
So yeah, give me a $300 tax
Right.
bill, because I mean I made millions of dollars.
Right.
It's just
Right.
it's a paradigm shift that has to take place. And the main thing is that that intimidation factor,
Mhm.
we want to make sure we get rid of that.
Yeah.
And we're not just saying that this is a crooked entity or whatever. It's what it is. Everything in America is interwoven with this tentacles of racism
Yeah.
and separatism,
Mhm.
right? So we have to recognize that, again, not trying to be the ones at the top of the soapbox making complaints. That's not what we're doing. We're the ones going to the top of the mountain to say, listen, wake up, people. Wake up to know that it's on us if we don't do anything about it.
That's right.
We got to get the information, but now we're going to do our part to give you the information.
Mhm.
Let's get to another question here.
Okay.
How long does it take? And I think, listen, my sister-in-law is saying, doesn't that expire after 7 years? Great question, Lisa. She's asking, shouldn't it fall off automatically after 7 years?
I love that question. I'm going to tell
Speak
you why,
on
Miss
that.
Lisa. They are, I call them credit crooks, because they can do something as simple as the 7 years, I think you're kind of referencing bankruptcy, right?
Or
and
I think
inquiries.
she's referencing items that are on your report that
They're-
we've always been told it was
They're
a 7 year.
supposed to do that. But if you are unaware of what they're supposed to do, then they'll keep reporting it. They don't care. They got paid for it already. It's already charged off. They don't care about how it's negatively impacting your life, right?
And you know how they change and extend that? They
Yeah.
extend it with what's known as the last date of activity. The
Which
last
is
date.
normally inaccurate, and
It's
they
always-
change it.
It's always a floating date, right?
Yeah.
Because this is what they say. Tell me if I'm wrong with this.
Mhm.
If I call Malcolm, who owes me I say he owes me,
Mhm.
right? So when I call him and he makes an arrangement, even though it's been 6 years, guess what happens with that 7 year period? It starts all the way over from the top.
That's why I said earlier, you prove to me that I owe this debt. I'm not acknowledging that this is an alleged debt until you can prove to me that I owe this debt. It's alleged. Prove it. And then I want to know what is your process in going to verifying this debt.
Right.
Because of course, there's certain rules and regulations that they are supposed to take, which we know they don't. They don't come out to your house and interview your neighbors and ask them, are you X, Y, and Z? As far I'm who I say I am.
Mhm.
Period. Point blank, period. But to her question, they're supposed to do a lot of stuff like report accurate information. I have a client right now that had her vehicle repossessed, and they basically stole her car. Repossession is basically a form of thievery, right? Because this third party person that they have contracted with to come pick up your car, you didn't have a contract with them. This is a random person that has a piece of paper that they never give to you. They just say X, Y, and Z said, I got to come pick up this car. Sir, ma'am, who are you? I never had a contract with you. They did not notify me of this process taking place. When you look in your contract, your car contract, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom where it says arbitration, read the arbitration. Read what they are saying they will do before you get to the point of them coming to get your car. 99.9% of the time, they don't do that.
Right.
They don't do that. They don't sit down and negotiate and talk to you and give you an opportunity to get your car. They just come get it.
Right.
Especially right now where there's a worldwide shortage of used vehicles because they're trying to move over into the electric vehicles. They snatching up good vehicles left and right.
Right.
Especially with us because they know we don't know the law.
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of stuff they're supposed to do, but they don't.
Right quick. We're live on Instagram right now. Tamaris, I want you to introduce your company. I'm posting this in a minute.
My name is Tamaris Massengale, and I'm the proud owner of TM Consultant, and we provide small business services, including personal and business credit, government contracting, new business startup. I'm also an expert in transportation trucking. So I know there's a lot of truckers out there that are suffering. My heart goes out to you guys. There's a lot of programs that are out there that can help support you guys as well. I know you're taking a hit with this crisis of the rates and whatnot. So yeah, getting your credit back on track definitely can help you with that as well.
Absolutely.
And Cup of Joe, let them know who you are and when they can tune into your show on a weekly basis.
Well, this is your man, Joe Humphrey, man, aka Cup of Joe, and you can catch us here every Wednesday morning from 10 to 11, soon moving to 10 to 12 on this very radio station, Real Talk Radio, Real Talk 100 Radio. And we're about to close the show out, but I think I want to have one more question. Do we have time? We don't have time for one more question. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I am talking about. You hear what I'm saying, Facebook? This is what I'm talking about, Cindy. We got to switch this thing up. So he's gonna award us a few more moments here because I believe this is really pertinent information. Yeah. I want you to give to your contact information very quickly for those that would like to contact you do you offer a free consult or?
I do.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yes.
Yeah, so they'll know what they're getting into and what the extensiveness is. So give them your contact information so they can reach out to you here. Okay,
my social media handles are TM_consultant. My website is www.tamarismk.com. Those are the quickest way to get in contact with me. You can set up for a free consultation through my Linktree link, as well as which you'll find on my profile on Instagram. But my email is info@tamarismk.com, and that's TAMARISMK.com. Perfect. We're going to field a quick question from my sister-in-law. Okay. She's basically asking, is it better to have different types of credit, such as revolving, etc.? And I think we know the answer to that is absolutely. Yes. But I have to preference that response, like I tell with anybody, know what you're trying to do. I've run across a lot of people that have had impeccable credit and do nothing with it. That's just as bad as not having bad credit. Understand this is a game that you're playing. Your credit profile is something that you can leverage to build financial freedom. That's the word. So there's good credit and there's bad credit. The bad credit can be that you maxed out your credit cards, or you maxed out your line of credit, but you're purchasing property, right? That's what we got Joe for. He's going to teach you about the different programs that are out there that you can combine to purchase, right? So there's good credit and bad credit. Your bad credit, I'd rather see someone that has their utilization high, but they're maxing out their credit cards because they have a plan. They're doing something with it, opposed to someone that has impeccable credit and you're doing nothing with it and you're still struggling on a 9 to 5. It makes no sense.
Right.
It makes no sense.
That's where the paradigm shift has to come.
Yeah.
You worked hard to get a great credit score.
Yeah.
Right. Now let's leverage that
Correct.
towards some and take some action towards bettering our situation. So I think that's, ladies and gentlemen, that is the bottom line to what we're talking about. It's not just about credit. It's not just about having good credit.
Yeah.
It's about learning how credit works,
right?
So you can maintain that good credit standing. And now let's parlay that to using it as our advantage as far as leveraging what we can do to start a business. And I heard you mention the other day that talk to me very quickly about business credit and the farce that's behind the notion that one has
you
to
would bring that up.
I mean, 'cause you had me. That's what made me say, okay, let me bring on the show.
Well, again, I'm going to say in my personal experience in our community, which is we think that, okay, my personal credit is jacked up, but I have a business. So now let me just focus on using my business credit, which is possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's possible, but
highly unlikely. But
you're going to run into the same thing: high APRs, low balances, or low limits, because your personal can't match what your business is doing. But I mean, it's changing because we have a lot of fintech opportunities, meaning financial technical banking, where they can just tap into your revenue, right? But still, it's not going to X out the fact that you have bad credit.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get your personal credit up to par, and you can utilize your business credit, and that's how you can build that bridge to financial freedom. But no, you can't just think you're gonna build up your business credit, and now you're living off your business credit, and your personal credit is all jacked up, because they do look at that. Underwriters do look at that.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our hope is that someone got something out of this, that they could say it was a turning point in my life. That message I heard from TM Consulting that said this, that, or the other, and I took action on that information, and it somewhat changed the trajectory of my life by changing the trajectory of my credit. To that end, if it's one person that has it and got something good, I believe our task was accomplished.
Absolutely. But
we obviously want everyone to be conscious of this thing here called credit and not intimidated by it.
Absolutely.
That's the message we want to send you today, that you don't have to be intimidated by the credit entities, aka credit bureaus, as we call them, because we know the game, and knowing the game, we can play the game.
That's right.
And we play the game to win.
That's right.
So thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you for
you are the bomb. We may have to bring you back here to do a deeper dive.
Absolutely.
Into the other aspects of what your firm does. But I think this is good information.
Absolutely.
And listen, Malcolm.
Hey,
I think we've come to the end of another show, man. Let's get that second theme song going, man, and we're going to close out. I am Cup of Joe. This is a Cup of Joe morning show, and we're going to do this again. Same bat time, same bat station, same bat channel.
Yes.
That will be on next Wednesday at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Tune in, tag a friend, and let's be blessed. God bless.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Tamaris, again. I will get you tagged and posted as soon as I can. Get it hashtag properly. But this has been another edition of the Cup of Joe morning show, everybody. Y'all tune in, as Joe has already said, every Wednesday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I'm just getting inside because he's going to 2 hours.
We're going to go to 12. We're going to go to 12.
I told him months
He's
ago.
been telling me.
A whole year ago, I told him. No, I'm just playing.
No, it hasn't been that much.
I told him it was going to go to 2 hours. I knew just from talking to him the first couple of days that I met him, I said, oh, this is going to be a lively show full of information. You need more than an hour, especially when y'all go to calling in. From here on out, if you're watching the replay, please put hashtag replay in the comments and let us know you were here listening. I am sorry.
Okay. You're being ambidextrous over here.
I had to answer that call. I'll be right with you. Where was I?
We're just going to close out.
We want y'all to tune in every Wednesday and make sure you call in with any questions you have on credit. Like today, Ms. Tamaris Massengill was full of information on credit. And as we already know, Cup of Joe is full of information on home buying, the home buying process. So today he brought someone who's very knowledgeable, very knowledgeable about the credit process. Credit is very important in the home buying process.
Yes.
Tune in, watch the replay, and tune in next Wednesday from 10 to 11 on Wednesday morning. We're out of here. This has been another edition of the Cup of Joe Morning Show.
Throw that jam on. Don't make me wait till next Wednesday.
Cup of Joe Morning Show. Cup of Joe Morning Show. Cup of Joe Morning Show.
Y'all have a good day, everybody, and everybody be safe on those roads. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Yay!